Come in closer. Come in, everyone.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Love you. Okay. Ready, everyone? Good. Welcome to Downtown Crossing. Welcome to the city of Boston on a beautiful spring day, the first of many to come, and a very exciting announcement and invitation for all to come downtown this coming Wednesday. So I'm very grateful to be here in my new capacity as mayor, along with some of our city's important partners. We're here with leadership from the city and some of our cabinet members and officials. We're here with leadership from the Downtown Boston Business Improvement District, the Rose Kennedy Greenway Conservancy, and the Greenway Business Improvement District as well. We've all watched over the last couple years as so much struggle and hardship has happened through the pandemic. It's been difficult on each and every one of our families. It's been life-changing for our small businesses, and we're still seeing the impacts as people are looking to make ends meet and put the pieces back together. One very big change that we experienced was how many people are out and about in downtown Boston and throughout our small business districts across our neighborhoods. As that foot traffic dropped, our businesses have been struggling to keep going. And we've lost out on the sense of community, of what it means to live in a bustling, vibrant, diverse, and exciting city where you can run into something unexpected out and about, walking around on some of our amazing streets. So much is coming back now as this pandemic has started to wane. And we see many companies now offering different work arrangements, some people starting to venture back in the office. But overall, it's been happening in all different spaces and still much in these rectangular Zoom screens. And so we wanted to come together and remind everyone of just how special it is when we can all bump into each other, support our small businesses, and enjoy being together in person across our city. This Wednesday, April 13th, we are going to all coordinate our efforts to offer a big reopening celebration, our Boston Blooms Downtown Block Party, to really showcase just what's special about this part of our city and about what we can see when we all come back together. Boston Blooms connects to our all-inclusive tourism campaign as well. We know that so much of our city relies on visitors from all across our neighborhoods, from across the Commonwealth and beyond. And so we're looking to bring residents, workers, and visitors back to our businesses. On Wednesday, this will be an all-day event spanning from South Station to Downtown Crossing. I'm going to highlight a couple of the things that you can look forward to if you find your way in to work in person or come visit this Wednesday. Blue Bikes and Blue Cross Blue Shield will provide free ride codes for people looking to bike to our event downtown. Lyft is offering $10 off annual membership through April 30th. In the morning on Wednesday from 7:30 to 10 a.m., there will be free Dunkin' coffee and food. There'll be music by Fabiola Mendez, DJ Ysham, and Defraze. In the afternoon, come outside for your lunch break because we're going to celebrate a food truck festival at Dewey Square near South Station with Mozilla, Northeast of the Border, North American Catering, and others who will have special promotions as well. There will be performances by Junk Music and a live mural by Street Theory, and we'll have free plant giveaways while supplies last. And then in the evening, bring your coworkers, meet your friends, schedule some after-work fun. As from 4 to 8 p.m., we'll have a beer garden at Downtown Crossing with Democracy Brewing. There'll be lawn games for all to take part in and enjoy. Music by Oompa, Couch, and DJ Ysham. And again, free plants if there are still any left at that point. I just want to emphasize that this is also just one step in our larger recovery. We have an opportunity right now in Boston to think about the ways in which we want to rebuild to match what's possible. Later this week, on Wednesday during the day, I will officially be presenting our first budget to the Boston City Council. As part of that, there will be our investments in keeping our city programs running and making sure we're responding to the needs in community. And we'll also be outlining our federal recovery package. The ARPA dollars from the American Rescue Plan are going to fund a couple key areas that we're looking to transform what's possible. Much of that lines up with what's happening here on Wednesday, too. So we'll be highlighting that $34 million will be proposed for economic opportunity and inclusion, to grow BIPOC-owned businesses, invest in our main streets, expand a commercial rental rebate program, grow tuition-free community college and workforce training. We're going to look to put over $31 million to climate resiliency directly, creating walking and biking infrastructure, growing and preserving our urban tree canopy, strengthening food systems, and making it possible for people to be outside and enjoy all throughout the year. We'll also be proposing $20 million for arts and culture, an unprecedented investment in our city's organizations and artists to facilitate placemaking, such as what we'll see here on Wednesday, and strengthen our communities at the neighborhood level and citywide. There are many other categories that we'll be investing in, from mental health and behavioral health to our schools and early education, and of course, a big down payment on what we need towards our affordable housing and housing stability efforts. But just a preview of that today. Ok, un poco en español. Hoy estamos muy agradecida a todos los miembros de nuestra comunidad y el liderazgo de la ciudad y el gobierno municipal para esta colaboración con Downtown Boston Bid, Rose Kennedy Greenway Conservancy y el Greenway Bid. El evento este miércoles es parte de nuestro refuerzo con la nueva campaña de turismo, de atraer a residentes, trabajadores y visitantes a nuestros negocios. El evento es de todo el día este miércoles desde South Station a Downtown Crossing. En la mañana tendremos comida y música. En la tarde habrá comida, arte y plantas gratis. Y en la noche tendremos cerveza y música también. Okay, now it is my honor to highlight someone who has been such a strong part of growing our economy in Boston, a staple within our small business community. Babak Bina, small business owner, to speak a little bit about the impact.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's an honor to be here, and my name is Babak Bina. I currently own and operate JM Curly and Bogey's Place in Downtown Crossing and Bin 26 Enoteca in the city of Boston in Beacon Hill. I've been in the restaurant business for about 4 decades now, and I've had the pleasure of working with one of the greatest mayors, Mayor Menino, and his concentration was the reason why downtown started to change course, and unfortunately between various bumps, speed bumps that we hit, that was delayed. And I'm ecstatic that our new mayor is focusing in downtown, and I can't thank her enough and her entire staff for having made it easy for us to get back up and running, whether it's with outdoor patio, which I know it's a hot button for some of my peers, but you know, running a city is obviously not easy, and it can get complicated to meet everyone's needs. But I think that at least for Downtown Crossing and Beacon Hill, it's gone very smoothly, and we look forward to a new chapter I have to say also I'm quite proud to have an Asian in the office. I'm Asian, and I used to check it off in my application when I first came to this country, and everybody would look at me and say, well, you don't look Asian. True, in the truest sense, I don't look Asian, but I'm originally from Iran, and technically it's in Asia, so I thought that I'm Asian, and I am Asian. But at any rate, it's wonderful to, as a Persian, as an Asian who celebrates spring, say that with spring comes a new beginning, and our mayor has certainly set the stage for this spring to become our new beginning for Downtown Crossing and the City of Boston. I also want to thank tremendously the Downtown Bid organization, which has made everything possible in Downtown Crossing through the pandemic, cleaning, keeping security up, and I know we'll persevere ultimately, and I can't thank them enough either. Again, thank you again for all your support. We really greatly appreciate it.
Next up is someone whose leadership and whose cabinet and team has made this all possible and coordinating with everyone, our Chief of Economic Opportunity and Inclusion, Segun Idowu.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It is a beautiful Monday afternoon. It's a pleasure to see all of you today. I'm trying to make sure we're all excited about not just the fact that we're here, but it's springtime in Boston, which we've been looking forward to for what feels like years and years. But a pleasure to see all of you here today, and I'm grateful to the mayor for convening us to celebrate the fact that our downtown area is finally reopening for business, for pleasure, and everything in between. And so happy to see all of you here today. I just want to say a couple quick thank yous and acknowledge and appreciate Bob and many of the business owners in this area who have done everything they can to keep their businesses operating and moving along, keeping folks employed, giving reasons for people to continue coming down here to the downtown area. But also want to thank other leaders who are standing behind me, Pam and Anita and Rose and Michael at the Downtown Boston Bid. I want to thank Chris Cook and Rachel Lake at the Rose Kennedy Greenway. I want to thank so many of the other leaders who are here with us today, our ambassadors in the downtown for the Downtown Boston Bid who are here, who have been here throughout COVID, making sure that everyone is heading in the right direction and getting where they need to be. But also want to thank members of the City Hall team. This is not something that we put together overnight. Right when Mayor Wu ascended to the office of mayor, she was sure to convene many stakeholders who you see here right now and others who are not able to join in person to talk about how we reopen our downtown area as ways to think about how we ensure that the rest of our community, the rest of our city are alive and awakened as we emerge out of COVID. Huge meeting in December, standing room only over in the mayor's office to talk about how we emerge out of COVID properly, and followed by another meeting late last month to talk about how we move forward on what we heard in December. And we came up with 5 different strategies for attacking this problem. One is making it easier to convert some of the empty office buildings you see around here to things like affordable housing, creating more opportunities and space for childcare, for workers who are returning. Things like filling these vacancies that we might see around the area, and with a focus on bringing more minority and women-owned businesses to this downtown area, reflecting all the diversity that we see come through here every single day. A focus on how we activate our own backyard, as Chief Dion Irish calls it, our City Hall Plaza, when it's reopened later this year, and put events there that help to continue to bring folks back to this area and revitalize our areas, our downtown. And finally, a focus on a marketing campaign to show people what they're missing out on when they're not downtown. I know here at City Hall, where we're back in the office, being able to stop inside someone's office to ask a quick question instead of sending an email, setting up a Zoom meeting for later that day, and then trying to do the same thing all over again has been really helpful to getting some work done in an efficient way. Greenway. I want to thank members of the City Hall team, some of who are here today, in particular two individuals who are helping spearhead this over at City Hall. Daniel Lander, coming from our policy shop, who's here with us today, and Andrew Grace, who's our Director of Economic and Strategic Planning in the Economic Opportunity and Inclusion Cabinet, who are making sure that all of these cabinets, which the mayor has called together, and I'll just go through the top that are part of this: the Arts and Culture Cabinet, the Boston Planning and Development Agency, the Mayor's Office of Consumer Affairs and Licensing, our shop at Economic Opportunity and Inclusion, the Department of Innovation and Technology, Mayor's Office of New Urban Mechanics, the Operations Cabinet, the Policy Office, the Streets Cabinet, Mayor's Office of Tourism, Sports and Entertainment. This is truly a cross-cabinet, cross-collaborative effort to make sure that we are focused on revitalizing this downtown area, but taking those different policies and initiatives that we put into place to spread across the rest of this city so that all of our neighborhoods are working together to bring our folks back and turn our neighbors into tourists. And I'll just add one last piece to this. Last week, actually last Tuesday, we were sitting on the third floor of City Hall talking about the phase 2 of the all-inclusive campaign, which is also a piece of revitalizing our downtown area and revitalizing the rest of our neighborhood, showing the rich cultural and ethnic diversity of our city and showcasing many of our businesses who add to the vibrancy of our neighborhoods in this area. So again, I want to thank all of our partners. I want to thank all of you who are here today, and thank you, Mayor Wu, for this opportunity and bringing us all together. Thank you all.
Next up is Pam Messenger, Chair of the Downtown Bid.
Thank you, everyone. I will be very brief, but I just want to reiterate what the mayor and what Segun just said, is that this has been a very collaborative effort. Lots of people in City Hall, lots of people on the street downtown here, lots of people at the Greenway. This has been an important first step. It's not the end-all be-all, and it's not the only thing that we'll all be doing, but this is the room where it's going to happen, right here, Downtown Crossing, for free coffee on Wednesday morning, thanks to Duncan, and Democracy Brewing, downtown Boston's own microbrewery, is going to be setting up a beer garden here at 4 o'clock on Wednesday. There'll be live music here throughout the day, so please come out and play, everybody. Thank you. Woo!
And our partner and someone who remains a close advisor on many issues, Chris Cook from the Greenway Conservancy.
Thank you very much, Mary. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a huge round of applause for Mayor Michelle Wu of Boston? This is the heartbeat of Boston. This is downtown, all right? We're right between America's first park and America's most contemporary park, the Rose Kennedy Greenway. This is the heartbeat of Boston, and what happens here matters. It matters here because of the jobs that are provided by downtown Boston, and that's why we as a community have to get back down and support all these business owners that have been having such a tough couple of years, and support these restaurants and make sure that the people who are employed by these businesses stay employed. So Mayor, we can't thank you enough for prioritizing this. Thank you. I'm also very grateful to Chief Idowu and for everything his cabinet's doing, including planning of this event, and very grateful to be here in Downtown Crossing. You know, it's hard to be here without thinking of someone who prioritized this space every single day, and that was Rosemary Sansone. Downtown Crossing is great because Rosemary Sansone was great. And so she'd be so happy right now if she knew we were going to be throwing a big party to welcome all these workers back, and that's what we're going to do. So as far as the Greenway is all about connections. I mean, think about this. We used to have a highway infrastructure separate our neighborhoods from its own waterfront. Instead, now we connect it through this beautiful green space. And that's what we're going to do here on Wednesday. We're going to be connecting people back to downtown. For our part, we're going to be having musical performances, including rising internet sensation Cuss Campbell. He'll be performing in the morning as well as in the afternoon, welcoming workers as they come out of South Station on their way to their work. enjoying music during their lunchtime. And then, as the mayor said, we're going to have fantastic food trucks out there with some special giveaways with the purchase. And we're going to be having the plant giveaways on behalf of the Boston Parks and Recreation Department and the hardworking men and women that they represent. But ladies and gentlemen, the most important thing here today is to make sure that you get back to Boston and support the people who are here for you. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I just want to emphasize that, one, this is going to be a big party on Wednesday, so we expect to see everyone here, and encourage all who are on hybrid schedules or otherwise want to make plans for your lunch on Wednesday, plan around this. We're hoping to see you here in downtown Boston. But secondly, that this is just one step. Our goal is to have Wednesday activities and convenings and something unexpected throughout the summer. So keep an eye on that. We'll start our regular rhythm on that after we learn a little bit about what's needed this week. And the last thing I want to emphasize is that I know it's not enough just to say, come on back, we'll make it fun. We're going to do everything we can to make it fun. But we also know we have to make it easier, more convenient, and more possible for every one of our families to balance commuting and being in person as well. And so the city's hard at work on taking down barriers for childcare affordability and making sure we're siting those locations so there's access across the city. We're working hard on transportation reliability and affordability. We're working hard to tackle our housing crisis so it's possible for families to live near where you work and to be in our city thriving. All of that's happening at the same time, and it's all interconnected, but we really want to see you here on Wednesday to help kick it off. Questions? We saw so much of what was lost during the pandemic when I don't know if anyone else came downtown at certain moments and just shocked at how quiet it was everywhere. It is so important, not just for our companies and residents who are in this area, but for residents throughout our city and across the region to have a thriving commercial center that is deeply connected to our neighborhood business districts as well. So there's been a lot of feedback from business owners throughout the years, even before the pandemic, that we needed to have more focus, more resources, and intentionality about downtown, and particularly downtown crossing. The bid has been instrumental in bringing that vibrancy and vitality with our ambassador program, with music, with something for everyone here. But we are looking very intentionally at what sorts of space needs there are. Are there places that need to be subdivided? Or as the chief mentioned, are there places where we can work with the property owner to think about conversions to residential space? There are many needs that we want to address in this moment of not just challenge, but also opportunity. Childcare, for example, is much needed downtown too. So the goal of having programming in our city that is outside and bringing people together across a wide swath of downtown is that it will be safe for everyone. Of course, we want to continue to make sure that everybody is aware of where our case numbers are. We are at just over 5% right now in terms of community positivity. It's about 5.4% citywide. And we want to stay vigilant and encourage anyone who is more comfortable wearing a mask to please continue to have that in mind. But having this programming outside so that people can both experience what there is to see and connect with their coworkers and community members, but do so safely outside is an added bonus.
More detail about what's in the budget or what your plan is for supporting downtown businesses that rely on foot traffic beyond just this Wednesday, beyond the other Wednesdays?
Great. Well, I will just say all of this will be presented on Wednesday in greater detail and through many more conversations with the Boston City Council as our colleagues on the council have allocating authority. But I'll bring the chief up to talk about his dreams and vision for how these dollars are allocated so we can make our case.
So the question, for those who may not have heard, is around the budget and how we're going to be using those dollars to bring folks back to the downtown area. And again, as the mayor said, we won't go too much into figures as that will be released on Wednesday. But as mentioned earlier, there's a 5-part strategy of getting folks back down here. We know that employers want to encourage folks to come back down here, which is the meat of the foot traffic that come down to the downtown area. But, part of this all-inclusive Boston campaign is also about how we turn residents into tourists themselves. Make downtown an area where someone in Jamaica Plain or West Roxbury, Mattapan, Roxbury wants to come down here and enjoy the festivities, support our restaurants, et cetera. But, what we're looking forward to are investments in things like a rental rebate program that will help defer the cost of rent, which we know is one of the highest operational costs or burdens that faces our small businesses, which will attract more women and minority businesses to the area. And we know that will also be a way of attracting more foot traffic. When you identify with the folks who are operating businesses, that you're more than likely to bring those same groups to the downtown area. But more to come, and we're very much looking forward to Wednesday. Very excited for the future of the budget. Yes, and so one other piece, like I mentioned before, what we're doing in the downtown area is not just going to be downtown. This is our pilot. This is our incubator for our ideas where we'll be able to expand them across the city. And so one of the major investments that this mayor committed to on the campaign trail and now as mayor is investing more significantly in our Main Streets program. So doing things like increasing the budget for Main Streets, for salaries, for other operational expenses, but also a budget for beautification of the areas that our main streets are in, and programmatic investments as well to support our main streets, but also hold many more events throughout our neighborhoods, again, to invite more people outside to our commercial areas.
The question was about raising the minimum wage. We have seen just how much the costs of living in Boston has gone up, and it's been harder and harder to afford to stay here. And so whether that's on the city side, as we're thinking through the jobs that the city, 19,000 jobs that the city has, or throughout our small businesses, having that pay equity and having a livable wage is really important. We're working with the state and continuing to advocate as the state ramps up their full implementation of some of the wage policies over the last recent years.
Sides with the Inclusive Boston campaign, we've made an effort to try and draw foot traffic to places inside of Boston's little known neighborhoods, but the opening salvo for bringing back foot traffic is happening downtown.
Well, the Inclusive Boston campaign is really highlighting Boston's ethos as a city that is full of not only history and a legacy of being connected to this country's democracy, but also a vibrant home to the many diverse communities that make up our incredible city today. That will be reflected in what we see on Wednesday as well, in the performances and in the small businesses that we are delighted to showcase, in the work that we're doing to try to connect our neighborhood small business owners and BIPOC-owned businesses with some of the vacancies that are here downtown waiting to be filled. It is all connected, and the goal is that every single part of our city, not just neighborhoods or not just downtown, is a true reflection of our city's diversity and energy and opportunity.
Now, 110 right here, he just goes 20 bags, so I'm going to be no bag.
I'll come. What's your name, sir?
Ivan.
Okay. I'll come talk to you afterwards, Ivan. I'll connect with you.
Done. Like the whole Blue Hill is very, very bad. And
and a lot of taxpayers are getting their cars messed up driving from
The potholes, you
work.
mean? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Horrible. It's the worst street in America. I'm just kidding. But seriously, it's really a bad street. And we would love if Mattapan to at least the zoo would get fixed because it's really hurting our cars. It's hurting the commute. It's on the bus. It's horrible for
Yep.
people.
So this is
You
an
know?
important point because we want to be able to connect all of our communities, but that means that our basics to be able to drive or to be able to get there has to work. So this has been a really hard season for potholes. Very hard. Potholes form, and I'll just take a slight diversion, then we'll go back to any questions. Potholes form when the temperature goes below freezing and then back up and up and down and up and down. Because the water gets in, it freezes, it expands all the pavement, and then it melts, and then it makes holes, and then more water gets in. So when you see things where like it's snowing and hailing, and then it's hot again, and then it's snowing again, that always translates into a really hard time catching up with the potholes that are forming. We are working as hard as we can, and getting that right is really important to my whole team. We'll make sure to get out there on Blue Hill Ave and in streets all across our neighborhoods. We want to follow, there's a long list of requests, and we'll get out there.
I think it's the people that has these contracts with the city. They don't
We'll do
respect
better.
the money that the city is giving them to do the job. We need new people, new contractors to do the streets in Massachusetts because it's gone too far. We cannot take it no more. It's horrible.
Thank
We
you.
need to get to work on time. We need our streets done on Blue Hill.
That's
We
right.
need new contractors that respect the tax people's money.
I hear you. I'll come talk to you afterwards too, and I'll make sure I get the exact stretch and we can get that done. All right, maybe one or two questions here? Yeah. It's just a horrible tragedy, and we've been in touch with the MBTA, and we're following closely the investigation that's happening into the specific incident, but also safety measures that are needed across the board.
The City Council this morning had a hearing on receivership, given that the state is sort of reviewing the Boston Public Schools. Have you gotten any updates about where they are in looking at the schools, and do you have any new comments? I know you're very opposed to state schools.
Yeah, so the question was on receivership in the Boston Public Schools. We continue to work collaboratively with the state. They, the week of, last week, the state DESE staff were in various Boston Public Schools. The district has worked to provide a very comprehensive set of data and information and metrics that outline the progress that's been made over the last 2 years, as well as areas for continued need. And we'll continue working with them as they update their report and recommendations. But as of this point, still feeling very empowered about the path forward for the Boston Public Schools with our superintendent search, and I'll continue to have conversations with school leaders and educators and our young people about how we keep building on that. Thank you, everyone.